Hello, everybody. Welcome to Insights. My name is Bob Wright, here with Mike Walsh, commercial real estate brokers, advisors, investors for the Foundation Group. You can reach me direct at 206-619-3274. That's 206-619-3274. Information about the market, value analysis, whatever you might need, give us a call. We'll help you out in any way we can.
Yes, and I am Mike Walsh, and you can reach me anytime at 310-383-1570. That's 310-383-1570.
Our guest today on the program is Ewing Stringfellow. Now, Ewing has quite a bio. Investor, developer, rancher. He owns the Middle Fork Ranch up in North Bend, former manager of SeaTac Airport. He's the owner of the Queensborough, that 8-story high-rise on the south slope of Queen Anne's, sort of by the Space Needle. And he owns also about a half a dozen retail centers. And one thing we like to do on the program and in the newsletter is highlight certain local investors and find out how they did it, how they built their wealth. But first, let's you and I talk, Michael. Something on my mind. I don't know why this didn't bother me before. I'm worried about the stimulus checks, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I had this dream last night. All of a sudden, I had this dream about a bear in a cage, beautiful animal. I'm a little child, and I'm in the jungle, and there's this huge bear trapped in a cage, and it's a bamboo cage, and it's being held in place by a simple little bamboo door with a little tiny wooden peg. And I reach my hand through the bar of the cage to pet the animal. It rubs its head up against my hand, like a cat does. So I take the peg out and I open the door just a crack. I always shut it again. I reach in, pet the animal, rubs its head up against my hand. I open the door a little bit more. I can always shut it. And all of a sudden, the animal turns ferocious, breaks down the door, runs out and devours everything in its path. And all of a sudden, I started thinking about 30 million people honest to God, I woke up in a cold sweat. I had 30 million people out of work, the government sending money to people. Is this kind of like taking the peg out of the door? Are we in danger of letting the bear out of the cage?
Well, I think there's certainly cause for concern, and part of it is the totality of what's going on. I mean, certainly with, and I don't know that we can be all that critical of the government spending thus far. I think there's been certain, demographics of the population that have really needed that money and utilized it effectively. However, we just passed, the House of Representatives just passed another $3 trillion bill. Some of our local politicians here, Pramila Jayapal in particular, didn't think that $3 trillion was enough. We needed somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 trillion. So you have increased government spending, and then in places like Pennsylvania and Michigan, you have their local governments or state governments, I should say, in a way almost actively encouraging small business owners and employees of those businesses to remain at home. And even if there's been cases where small businesses have tried to convey that they could operate maybe at 50% or 40% of their overall capacity, but at least that would keep some revenue coming in and keep some employees, in the workforce and getting some hours. And it's been met with surprising resistance. So I think when you have additional spending, yet also the encouraging of people to remain at home and out of the workforce, I think that is cause for concern.
Look, I'm not saying we shouldn't have sent the stimulus money, and it was needed at the time, and maybe it's even needed again. But what's really needed is to get people back to work. Otherwise, hey, we're going to end up with the USSA instead of the USA, the Union of Socialist States of America.
Yeah, and I have a friend locally here in Seattle who he owns and operates a small moving company, and they primarily work with residential brokers, staging properties and things along those lines. But he recently is down to 2 employees, himself and one other person, and the reason being the majority of who he employed in his company has since left as a result of COVID-19. The economic circumstances, I guess, of going on employment were more favorable. They didn't have to work, but they got compensated, and for the meantime, they're opting out of working and taking the state benefits as a result of unemployment. And what's troublesome about that is it's not as if there wasn't work. He informed me that they were booked out, and even still, these guys decided not to remain with the company.
Here's something else interesting. The government, according to the Freedom Foundation, I heard this yesterday on the radio, the state of Washington is overstating COVID-19 deaths. Apparently, the way they report their statistics, what they do is they cross-reference the COVID-19 positive database with the death certificate database, meaning that if a person is counted as COVID-19 positive and then, say, dies 6 months later in a car accident, they count that as a COVID-19 death.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more of this too as time goes on, where we get a little bit better grasp of what's going on, and a better lay of the land. We'll start to realize that a lot of these deaths that have been attributed to COVID-19 probably are the result of something else. I know Colorado recently discovered that they were overusing COVID-19 as a cause of death, because anybody who passed away who tested positive for it was automatically assumed to be a casualty of the virus, when in actuality, the cause of death could have been something different.
But enough of us bantering back and forth. Let's get to Ewing Stringfellow, our guest. Ewing, thank you for coming on to continue what we were talking about earlier. Your multifamily is doing fairly well with about 90% collections, but you did say in the Queensborough that you had some move-outs.
Yes, we did have a lot of move-outs, and we had difficulty filling them up because people aren't going around. Now, when you say, well, if somebody leaves, it does not automatically mean that somebody's moving in.
So
you've got to advertise, and advertising is very difficult these days. I think there's going to be a slowdown in the market. You're in the real estate section of the market, buying and selling properties for your clients, Bob, and I just think that you're going to have a little hard time here for the next few years.
how are your retail centers doing?
Terrible. The retail center in North Bend, at the North Bend Shopping Mall, has a yellow tape across it, and nobody can even go in the center. Not one store is open, and it's been like that for, I think, 2.5, 3 months.
We're just gonna have to get people back to work.
That's right. But I want to say that the Lord has been very good to me, because what happened early on was when my grandfather W.W. passed away, he gave me 10% of his estate. I was a young teenager at the time, and that 10% of his estate included the equity in his house, which the equity back then was about $8,000. The total equity in his house. And I was able to take that $8,000 and buy my first property down in Renton with $6,500 of it as a down payment. And the rest of that income from the property went into a bank savings account, and then I used that money to buy half of 40 acres in Pine Lake, and I sold that property, that half 40 with another person for a substantial profit, which enabled me to buy the Queensborough from my father's estate when he died. If it wasn't for me selling that property and having that, I might not have had the property, the Queensborough today, because my father passed away. He didn't have cash. He had property. And the estate, I had to buy the Queensborough out of the estate.
How did the purchase of the Virginia come about, a third in Virginia?
Yes, I saved money and bought that property, $725,000, because I was working for the Port of Seattle at the time as director of real estate at SeaTac, where I was there for 23 years. But I took a 10-minute break, got with a realtor and bought the Virginian Apartments in Belltown, 2 blocks away from Amazon. And as you know, we were able to gift that property away for $7.2 million.
That's quite a profit.
Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating.
So the Lord's been very good to me. Even the tax savings by giving it away, it's coming back to me now because I've got 6 years of tax savings because of the gift, and I don't have the headache. But it shows over time, Bob, that with direction and stability and purpose in mind, and being slow and cautious, I guess you might say, real estate is just an absolute way to go.
So what's going to happen? Are we going to get out of this mess? What's your forecast for the future?
Wow. I was hoping you wouldn't get there, but well,
I mean, you've been through the 1972.
In the past 80 years that I've been associated with real estate, there's going to be ups and downs. And every time you're down, you don't know when you're coming back up. But this is America. America's going to come back. But this has been drastic, this epidemic, this COVID-19. And how America comes back and when, I don't know. But I think it's going to take a big adjustment. Restaurants, when they open, they might have to open with 50% capacity, with tables 6 feet apart, with no bars, limited people. And as one person in the coffee shop business told me, he talked to the governor's office here last week, talked with the attorney there, and he said it's going to be a different world. We're just, this pandemic has hit everybody hard when you consider the number of deaths that have happened in the city of Seattle and across our country. People are going to be cautious, and government's going to be cautious, overly cautious. When we react as a people, it seems like we overreact in many ways. And I think we're going to do that too until this thing dies down and people forget about it. But I think it might be 3 or 4 years.
We came back from the 1919 pandemic. We came back from 1972 when everybody was turning out the lights in Seattle. We came back from the Twin Towers. We came back from 2008 when all of the banks tumbled and closed.
That's right. You've been through those. How long did it take Seattle to get back after Boeing laid off so many people in, what was that, 80s?
1972.
72, yeah. How long did that take Boeing to get back up to where they were before?
Not long, 3 or 4 years.
Did it? Well, I think that's a reasonable time.
And then, of course, we had in the early 1980s, we had the interest rate fiasco when interest rates went up to as much as 23, 24%. We had to get through that. We got through that.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. So you're right.
Right now they're at zero.
Yeah, I never thought we would see that. I remember selling real estate for Capretto and Clark, and interest rates were came down to 13%, and we thought it was a gift from heaven.
That's right.
And I think
right now, and just to be very open here with you, I may, but I'm buying treasury bills. I'm buying bankers' acceptance notes, and I'm getting a return of 0.3%.
That's better than nothing. Ewing, we got to go. Thank you very, very much. It's been interesting, enlightening, and man with many hats. You've seen it all. Thank you very much. Let's do it again sometime.
As I said, the Lord's been good. You've got to have faith in the Lord. You've got to have faith in the economy. You got to have faith in your fellow man. You get burnt here and there, but there's an old verse in the Bible that says, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, whosoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life." And it's that kind of stability in the Bible We put a Gideon Bible in every one of our vacant apartments. We have done that for years. People can read it or throw it away. But there's stability, and you just have to count on this kind of faith to get through it.
Well,
and you'll do it, Bob. You're a good realtor. You've been through these ups and downs. And I've always appreciated your counsel for years when you appealed taxes for me and done lots of things. You're one of the rare people in this real estate business.
Well, thank you for that. It means a lot coming from you. It really does. Ewing Stringfellow, everybody. Thank you very much. And remember, if you anything you might need, give us a call, myself or Mike. My phone number again, to recap, is 206-619-3274, 206-619-3274, and Michael's number,
310-383-1570 is where you can reach me. That is 310-383-1570.
Hey, and I don't care what you hear, nobody has more experience. We were selling real estate in 1972. My first sale was in 1979. I'm not that old. It was a piece of land to a developer in Redmond, 1979. Give us a call. We'll help you. 206-619-3274, 310-383-1570. Insights, thank you very much.